I paid $16,000 to save my niece's life. 3 weeks later, my sister called. Jay, about Emma's recovery party, we've decided to keep it small. Just our circle. You understand. I didn't understand. Not until she said the quiet part out loud. Emma needs to be surrounded by people of position right now. People who can open doors for her future. I stared at my phone. $16,000. I had the wire confirmation on my screen, sent the same day she begged me for help. And now I wasn't good enough to celebrate the child I saved? How do you erase the person who gave your daughter her life back? You don't. Not without a fight. I had every receipt, every message, every lie in writing, and I wasn't going to stay quiet. But here's the thing. Before you pick a side, you need to know how we got here. Drop your country and the time in the comments. Let's see who's awake for this one. And if you've ever been erased by family, hit that like button. You'll want to see how this ends, because to understand how my own blood could do this, you need to go back 6 months. My sister Rachel and I grew up in the same house, shared the same secondhand clothes, same mac and cheese dinners, but we took very different roads out. I worked 2 jobs through college, paid every dollar of my own tuition, spent my 20s in windowless offices, climbing my way into consulting. By 35, I was clearing 6 figures. Not wealthy, comfortable. Rachel married a man whose family had money older than our hometown. She didn't work for her life. She married into it. And somewhere along the way, she started to forget where she came from. Country club memberships, charity galas, a house with a name, not just a number. But here's the thing. I never resented her for it, because of Emma. My niece was 12, smart, kind, grounded in a way her mother wasn't anymore. She called me every Sunday. We'd talk about books, school, life. She was my favorite person in the world. So when Rachel called me last fall, voice shaking, I didn't hesitate. Jay, Emma needs surgery. Spinal condition, progressive. If we don't do it now, she might not walk normally by 16. What do you need? Insurance covers most of it, but the specialist, the facility, there's a $16,000 gap. We're cash poor right now. The trust is locked until next quarter, and I'll send it today. Silence. Then, barely audible, thank you. I wired the money within an hour. Confirmation number saved. Memo line, for Emma with love. I keep every receipt, every bank record. Lesson I learned from my first bankruptcy scare in my 20s. Paper beats memory. The surgery was flawless. Emma's first text after recovery, Aunt Jay, I can feel my toes again. I cried in my car. Rachel sent a voice note 2 days later. You're Emma's guardian angel. I'll never forget this. 4 weeks later, the thank you text stopped. Rachel called on a Tuesday, bright, cheerful. Jay, hi. So, we're throwing a little party for Emma, a recovery milestone thing. She's walking without the brace now. That's amazing. When? 3 weeks from Saturday. But listen, we're keeping it intimate. Just our circle. You know. Our family stuff has been so chaotic. We want it calm. I felt the door closing before I understood why. I'm family, Rach. A pause. You know what I mean. Our immediate circle. It's going to be small. Okay. How small? Like 20 people. I believed her for about 6 hours. Then a friend sent me a screenshot. The event planner Rachel hired had posted on Instagram. 80-person garden gala. Live string quartet. Past hors d'oeuvres. Floral arch. I called her back. Rachel, I saw the planner's post. 80 people isn't small. Silence. Then her voice went cold. Jay, I didn't want to make this awkward. Make what awkward? You don't really fit the tone we're going for. Emma's at a sensitive age. She needs to be around people who can help her future. People of position. People of position. I let that sit. I paid for her future. Rachel, remember? And we're so grateful. We'll reimburse you. But this event is about Emma's network, her opportunities. Let's not make it about you. I'm not trying to make it about me. I just want to celebrate her. I think it's best if you sit this one out. For Emma's sake. She hung up. I sat on my couch that night and thought about walking away. Maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe I never was. Maybe people like Rachel were always going to win. But then I opened my laptop. I pulled up my files.
And that text, the one about reimbursement, that was her first mistake, because she just put it in writing. I pulled the wire transfer first. $16,000. Sent September 14th. Memo. For Emma, with love. Clean, dated, undeniable. Then I opened the text thread from surgery week. Rachel, September 16th. Jay, I don't have words. You saved her. You saved us. Rachel, September 18th. Voice note. You're Emma's guardian angel. She keeps asking when you're visiting. We love you so much. Rachel, September 23rd. I'll never forget what you did. Never. I screenshotted everything. Then I looked at the reimbursement text again. We'll reimburse you in installments. She was trying to rewrite history, turn a gift into a debt, make it look like I'd loaned her money, not given it out of love. Why? Because if I loaned her money, she didn't owe me gratitude. She didn't owe me a seat at the table. And her friends at the country club didn't need to know she'd needed help from her working-class sister. I leaned back in my chair. This wasn't about me. It was about her image. She wanted to erase me so she could tell a cleaner story. We took care of Emma ourselves. No mess, no debt, no awkward explanations. But here's the thing. If all she wanted was to avoid me, why offer to pay me back? What was she really afraid of? I went back through the messages, and that's when I found it. I made the mistake of asking questions. I called one cousin, then another, just trying to understand what Rachel had told people. Word got back to her. 2 days later, my aunt forwarded me an email. Subject line, family update, concern for Jay. Rachel had sent it to 15 relatives. I'll paraphrase, but you'll get the idea. Hi, everyone. I wanted to reach out because I'm concerned about Jay. She's been struggling with some boundary issues lately, and I think she's having a hard time with Emma's recovery. She's made Emma's healing about herself, and it's become uncomfortable. David and I are asking for space while we protect Emma's peace. Please keep Jay in your thoughts. I hope she gets the help she needs. I read it 3 times. She'd turned me into the problem. Jealous, unstable, struggling. I wasn't the aunt who paid for the surgery. I was the cautionary tale. She'd sent it to my mother, my uncle, people who'd known me my entire life. And some of them believed her, because Rachel had always been good at performing. I looked at the calendar. The party was in 10 days. She wanted me silent, shamed, erased. But she'd made one mistake. She assumed I didn't have proof, that it would be her word against mine. And in her world, her word always won. I went back through every single message we'd ever exchanged, every email, every text. And buried in a thread from 2 days after the surgery, I found the smoking gun. A message Rachel sent to David. She'd accidentally included me in the thread, then deleted it 30 seconds later, but I'd already read it, and I'd screenshotted. The message was short. Rachel, to David, September 16th, 9 p.m. Don't mention Jay at the club tomorrow. I'll say we took a loan from my trust if anyone asks about the surgery. No one needs to know we needed her. No one needs to know we needed her. I sat with that for a long time. Then I found the second part, a draft guest list she'd texted to the event planner. 80 names. Mine was never on it. Not even crossed off. Just absent. She hadn't uninvited me from the party. She'd never planned to invite me at all. The phone call, the intimate gathering lie, all of it was theater. She'd always intended to erase me. From day one. I took another screenshot. Then I pulled the trust documents she'd mentioned. Public record. Took me 15 minutes to find. Her trust fund paid out quarterly. The next distribution was 3 weeks after Emma's surgery. She had the money. She just didn't want to touch her trust and answer questions from David's family. Easier to ask me. Faster. Quieter. And once Emma was safe, easier to bury. I closed my laptop. I wasn't angry anymore. I was calm. Because I finally understood what she was afraid of. The truth. And I knew exactly how to use it. Here's what you need to understand about Rachel's world. David's family is old money, not we're comfortable money. We have a wing at the museum money, and they care about one thing above all else: image. Rachel didn't grow up in that world. She married into it, and every day since, she's been trying to prove she belongs. The charity committees, the galas, the perfect house, the perfect child. It's all performance. And the performance only works if no one sees the cracks. Needing money from your working class sister? That's a crack. A big one. The party wasn't about Emma. It was Rachel's debut. Her chance to show David's family and her country club friends that she'd handled a crisis with grace. That she was strong, capable. One of them. Acknowledging me destroyed that story. Because if people knew I paid, they'd ask why. And if they asked why, Rachel would have to admit she didn't have liquid cash, that the trust was locked, that she was, in her world's language, broke. I wasn't erased out of cruelty. I was erased out of fear. And honestly, I could have lived with that. But Emma was 12, and she thought I'd abandoned her, that I didn't care enough to come to her party. Rachel could perform all she wanted, but my niece deserved the truth, and I was going to make sure she got it. I thought about going to a lawyer, thought about posting the receipts online, thought about sending the screenshots to every person on that email list, but that wasn't the play. Because this wasn't about winning. It was about Emma. So I made a call. Not to Rachel, not to David, to Emma's art teacher, Miss Carolyn. We'd met at a school event 2 years ago. Stayed friendly. Carolyn, I need a favor. I need 10 minutes with Emma. Somewhere safe. Rachel can't know. She didn't ask why. She just said yes. 2 days later, Emma and I sat in an empty art room after school. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just showed her the receipts, the wire transfer, the texts, the guest list. Emma, your mom told you I didn't want to come to your party. That's not true. She uninvited me. And she never told you I paid for your surgery. Emma stared at the phone screen. Her hands started shaking. You paid? All of it. The $16,000 your insurance didn't cover. She looked up at me, tears running down her face. I thought you didn't care anymore. I thought I did something wrong. I hugged her.
When she finally pulled back, her face had changed. She wasn't sad anymore. She was angry. I want you at my party. Emma, it's my party, and I want you there. She pulled out her phone. I'm telling my dad right now. And she did. The party was on a Saturday. Garden venue, white tents, 80 guests in cocktail attire. I pulled up at 2 p.m. Rachel was greeting people near the entrance. She saw me. Her face went white. I smiled, walked right past her. David met me at the gate. Jay, Emma insisted. I couldn't say no. You shouldn't have to. He nodded, let me in. Rachel caught up to me 10 minutes later. Her voice was low, furious. What are you doing here? Emma invited me. This is my event. No, it's hers. She opened her mouth, closed it, walked away. I spent the first hour playing it quiet, talked to a few cousins, smiled, blended in. Then Emma stepped up to the microphone. The quartet stopped playing. Everyone turned. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. This party means the world to me. I wanted to say a few words. She looked at Rachel, then at me. A lot of you know I had surgery a few months ago. It was really scary, but I'm okay now. And I wanted to thank the person who made today possible. She pulled out a poster board. On it, blown up to 2 feet wide, was my wire transfer. $16,000. Memo, for Emma, with love. The garden went silent. My Aunt Jay paid for my surgery. All of it. And my mom told me she was too busy to come today. She looked right at Rachel. But she's here. Because she always shows up. The guests stared. Some at the poster, some at me, most at Rachel. Rachel's face was red. She tried to laugh it off. Emma, sweetheart, let's not get into details. But the damage was done. People were whispering. A woman I didn't know approached me 20 minutes later. You're the aunt? I am. That was incredibly generous. She's my niece. The woman glanced at Rachel across the lawn. Interesting that you weren't mentioned in the invitation. She walked away. 3 more people asked me questions. Rachel's narrative was collapsing in real time. David found me near the end of the event. Jay, I'm sorry. I should have stood up to her. Yeah, you should have. He nodded. You're welcome here anytime. I'll make sure of it. Rachel left her own party at 4 p.m., claimed a headache. I stayed until 6, played cards with Emma and 2 of her friends. When I left, Emma hugged me at the gate. Thank you for not giving up on me. Never. I drove home with the windows down. For the first time in weeks, I felt light. Rachel texted me 4 days later. I mishandled things. I'm sorry. No acknowledgement of the lying, the erasure, the smear campaign. Just 5 words and a period. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. David set up a standing visit schedule. Every Sunday, I pick Emma up. We get lunch, we talk. Rachel doesn't interfere anymore. She can't. The family group chat shifted after the party. Rachel's opinions don't carry the same weight now. People remember what happened. And her country club friends? One of them was at the party. Word spread. 2 months later, Rachel's name was quietly removed from the philanthropy committee she'd chaired for 3 years. No public announcement. Just gone. I didn't celebrate that. But I didn't mourn it either. Emma's doing great. 4 months post-op, she walked a full mile without assistance. She sends me videos of her progress every week. And she tells me, over and over, I wouldn't be here without you, Aunt Jay. I set a new boundary after all this. No financial help to family without a written agreement. And no help at all unless I have direct contact with the person I'm helping. No more middlemen, no more erasure. I also wrote about the experience, posted it on Medium. No names, just the story. It went viral. 50,000 reads in a week. Hundreds of comments from people who'd been erased the same way. By parents, siblings, in-laws. People who gave everything and got written out of the story. It helped me realize something. Generosity without respect is just control waiting to happen. You can't love someone and erase them. And if someone tries, you have every right to protect your truth. I'm not saying blow up your family. I'm saying keep your receipts and know when to use them. Emma starts high school next year. I'm helping her shop for backpacks next month. Rachel will probably be there. And that's fine, because I'm not trying to win anymore. I already did. I have my niece back. And Rachel? She watches from the sidelines now, right where she put me. Funny how that works. So here's my question for you. Have you ever been erased after helping someone? Maybe you paid for something, showed up when no one else did, and then got written out of the story. What did you do? Did you fight back? Or did you walk away? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. And if this helped you see your own situation more clearly, hit that subscribe button. You're not alone in this. None of us are. Oh, and one last thing. This story is a fictionalized dramatization. It's not legal or financial advice, but the lesson, that's real. Protect your truth, and the people who matter will protect you back. I'll see you in the next one.